Don't get me wrong, sometimes I have absolutely picked up stuff from Red Bubble before, but I usually only do that if it's like something that they literally don't make any more. They like trying to pick up a hoodie for Pokemon Crystal is not a thing that you can do anymore unless it's like $70 because of the age of that game. But it's also like I have bought enough Pokemon merchandise in my life that I'm not terribly upset by the idea of not giving Game Freak or Nintendo the money for one person. You know what I mean? The fact that Nintendo and Game Freak are as big as they are, I'm okay with maybe taking that loss for them. Because I'm still the sucker that will totally buy the DLC and buy every game that comes out. When Pokemon Snap for the Switch comes out, I'm sure I'll buy that too, because I love Pokemon Snap. And I make no effort to hide the fact that, hey, Game Freak putting out a Pokemon Snap sequel in 2021? That game's probably not going to have a whole lot of content, I would think. I don't know that they're going to put a whole lot of love into it. But I love Pokemon enough that I'll buy it. Because I love it. And maybe that makes me a sucker. But you know what I would say to that? Suckers are delicious and everyone should have them.
And you know what I say to that?
What do you say to that?
Suckers never learn.
Some of the suckers always trying to ice skate uphill, what you're saying?
More or less.
That's a game that we are not playing. We are not playing Blade. Those games suck. And that's not a vampire pun.
Topical.
Topical. Cosmo, I'm so sorry that you're listening to all this. I can't imagine that any point. Oh my god. I'm sorry. I just saw you pull a generator out of that room and destroy, like... obviously, I'm a couple seconds behind here, but that... Every time I see that destruction, I'm like, damn, that looks really good.
It does look really good. I'm happy it looks as good as it does. And yes, it is what it is. Thank you for your understanding.
Your understanding goes far.
Oh!
God, just busting up the environment in this game looks so damn good. Because it's the little details.
It's the little things.
It's busting the, it's busting, like, the opening to it. Oh, shit. Yeah, I just saw you jump into that. It's busting the opening to a door as opposed to busting a hole through the door.
It's also meticulously modeled.
Yes.
Where was that light that I literally just had? Did it reset?
I thought you just put it down on the ground.
I thought I did too, and it's gone. Yeah, it reset.
Yeah, it was next to the generator. I think. Pretty sure.
This might be like a gimmick section that I'm kinda not processing.
I mean, if it was a gimmick section, I would imagine they would give you more lights later, too. Although, maybe not, since you can fucking fly. Who knows?
Where'd it go?
Where'd she go?
It just despawned. Okay.
No, I guess it doesn't want you to have it. You know what? I bet if it hits the goop, it disintegrates.
Maybe.
You might need to find another floodlight down here somewhere. Oh man.
Oh, what the hell is... Oh, I see what this is gonna do.
You know how black coffee sometimes smells like cigarettes? Like they share that kind of scent profile a little bit?
Yes.
The menthol is not technically menthol, but like the extract mixture of mint in this coffee makes it also smell like vodka. So drinking it down kind of just makes me feel like I'm making a mistake. Like, oh yeah, cigarettes and vodka. I remember the first year of community college. Oh no. I accidentally rubbed my eyes, and now my eyes also feel like, oh shit.
How could you do this?
Don't worry. I was too busy thinking about Crackdown and how disappointing it is.
Yeah, that'll make anyone rub their eyes, to tell you the truth.
You know what this reminds me of, though? This section here? This kind of reminds me of dragging the marker in that last part of Dead Space.
Yeah, a little bit. What have we here?
Except
this is ominous.
Seems like way less annoying. Oh god. The mistake is that I keep, like, breathing in before I drink, and I keep getting, like, the way that the cup smells. The cup just smells like an ashtray. I swear, I love coffee. This was just a mistake. I always do this. Every time I try to add something to my coffee, it just makes it less enjoyable. Oh, man. Oh, man.
It's too dark in here to fight this thing.
There's a... Hey, guess what? There's a part in Buffy the Vampire Slayer where Spike and Buffy go out to like a demon bar and share a couple of drinks and start rabble-rousing.
Uh-huh.
And she's not a drinker, so he gives her like a bottle of whiskey and she takes a shot of it and just goes like, and it's like one of the best reaction gifs I've ever seen. This coffee tastes like that place. I like that you can burst the section of that wall like in parts also.
And I like that you can tell you can break it because it has cracks in it.
Reminds me of a very similar situation with the C4 in Metal Gear Solid 1.
I thought you were going to say Deus Ex.
It also reminds me of Deus Ex, but Deus Ex is a little bit more like cutscene-y.
Yeah, it's a bit more like press E to do thing, and there's a bit less intuition to it.
Yeah,
It's
MGS1
kind of a
is literally like
one-size-fits-all solution.
go into first-person mode and look for the Zelda-style crack in the wall that you can bomb. Which is
hey,
doubly impressive
Zelda.
because that fucking PlayStation 1. Also, yes. What, Hey, Bix, you're a smarter person than I am. What date does Thanksgiving take place on?
I always thought it was the 26th.
The 26th. Okay, I
Or
thought
it's
it was
like-
20... Because I initially... You're right. You are right. It's the 26th.
I kind of can't believe I was right. But hey, I'll take it.
It is the 4th Thursday of November.
Yeah, that was what else I was saying, is that it's some fucking Thursday or something.
That's bullshit.
It's stupid.
I hate that. I hate that almost as much as I hate the concept of daylight savings time in the modern day.
I fucking hate daylight savings time. It's so stupid. It makes me perhaps disproportionately angry.
But it makes it more different. Okay, so there are two things about that, right? When I was a young boy, my father, when I was in school more regularly, like high school,
Right?
daylight saving time meant, oh good, I get to sleep less and wake up early, even earlier for the rest of the year. And that was just like, this is a law that was passed for some reason that is going to make half of my like scholastic year more difficult for no reason. And when I eventually started, you know, when I got a job and when I started going to work properly, it instead became a switch that would turn on and make me almost late for work for a not insignificant portion of the working year. Because then I was like, oh great, well now all of the clocks are off, and even if they weren't, my circadian rhythm is now off by an hour, right? It was never a good idea. And now that you and I are doing this, it makes it even more difficult because we operate in different time zones.
And one of them adheres to daylight savings time and the other one doesn't.
And hey, guess what? I don't fucking know when daylight savings time ends.
I got
Why
no
would I
fucking
know?
clue.
I don't run a company. I don't manufacture, like, calendars for a living. Why would I know this? So stupid. But like the whole concept of like, oh hey, when is Thanksgiving this year? Oh, it's on the 26th. Cool. Oh hey, when is Thanksgiving this year? Oh, don't you know it's always on the 4th Thursday of November. Okay, well what the fuck what?
That's not
I don't
helpful.
have
I need to
I'm
have a
not staring at
calendar
the
in front
calendar.
of me.
The 4th Thursday of November?
Fuck
All right,
off.
I guess.
That's not helpful.
It's so stupid. 420 years ago. Bad. It's bad.
I hate it.
I understand the need for time zones to exist. Like, you know...
Time zones,
sunsets and
fair
different-
enough.
Time zones, fair enough. But the idea of, like, a national super important holiday that's recognized by practically every business that exists is somehow beholden to, like, not having a single date that is readable just immediately? That just seems unnecessarily complicated. That seems like a level of obfuscation that doesn't need to exist.
Can we just make it be the 26th?
Because I had this moment where I was like, oh yeah, Thanksgiving, that's the 21st, right? And then the 21st passed. And I was like, okay, well, it's the 24th then, right? No, because then the 24th passed. Hi, everybody, it's the 24th today. And then I was like, well, if it's not the 21st, and it's not the 24th, I know that it's not the 31st, so when the fuck is it? It's some other day.
Come on.
What a strange thing to get upset about, you might be saying. And I might be saying, yes, I'm a strange person.
And I am saying,
get-
yes, maybe it should be better.
Maybe it should be better. You know what you should be able to pick up in this game as an outfit?
What?
Fucking tweed jacket, leather shoulder pads.
I knew you were gonna say that. I didn't know how you were gonna say it, but I knew you would say it.
Hold on. Because I know this must exist.
It probably exists. I would bet money on it. And I am not
I
a
need to-
gambler.
I need to know how much. Oh, you can buy an Alan Wake metal statuette on Etsy for $48.
You should buy that. That seems like the kind of thing you would own.
I kind of should buy that. Oh, there's also a colored version, which is $108. Jesus. You
That's-
can get a...
That's
Yeah?
still hard to beat.
You can get a bright bulb here. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. That's dumb, but that's pretty good. I'm trying to look for this online, and I think I can't find any vendors that sell Alan Wake's jacket. I think you would have to, like, specially commission somebody to make a replica. Granted, I imagine not a whole lot of people are buying a replica jacket of a video game character that didn't sell well 8 years ago.
You
But
know
I
what?
kinda like
You
it.
probably know what I'm thinking. because I am thinking of something else that also meets that description.
But the problem with that is that I have found Alex Mercer's jacket multiple sites. Alex Mercer's jacket is actually pretty popular because it's so... Like, it's that jacket exists, and in order to cosplay it well, all you really need to do is to stitch a high-quality patch onto the back, or to do, like, a leather stencil on the back.
Yeah.
Like, I have a coat that's pretty fucking similar to that one, but it's not quite the same thing. I kind of like anime in chat chimes in and says that the jacket is pretty cool. I agree. I think Alex Mercer's jacket and Alan Wake's jacket are pretty cool. But that's me. I like how dorky and nerdy Alan's like tweed jacket is. 'Cause it's something that like a college professor would wear.
100%, you're right.
And it looks really comfortable. I always get so bummed out in the cutscenes where he dives into the lake because I'm like, no! The jacket is completely ruined! You're gonna get out of that lake and like the shoulder or the elbow pads are gonna be all warped and they're not gonna fit properly, and I'm like, no! Why do you gotta do this? Speaking of why you gotta do this, these guys they do not have the decency to not load people down, which is unfortunate.
And they don't have the decency to not dodge my shit that I'm throwing at them. Up to and including my rockets.
I think we talked about this before, but I know that the final upgrade path for the charge shot is too fast for them to dodge. I think it's level 4? I think?
Does it go up to level 4? Oh, you're talking about the launch, not the charge. Wait, are you?
I thought it was the charge.
The charge is the rocket launcher.
I could be wrong. I know that the DLC added a... I'll look this up. But I know that the DLC added, like, multiple upgrade paths for certain weapons. And one of them was to... fucking typed Alan Wake into the search bar, like, of course I would. I'm pretty sure one of them is specifically faster projectiles and take down flying enemies. Let me see what I got here. Yeah, that ought to do it. Upgrade launch. Rip through your enemies. Launch enemies. And flight. There's a whole lot. And looking up these kinds of, looking up any kind of, like, upgrade path for weapons always becomes difficult. I remember trying to flying enemy counter. So I'm getting flashbacks to Monster Hunter is what I would say. I typed in control flying enemy counter, and I've got the Wikipedia article for air supremacy and also airborne early warning and control. It's not what I'm looking for. Damn it. No, don't get me wrong, that seems like really cool reading material, but that's not what I'm looking for. Are you what are you working on currently?
What do you mean, what am I working on? Like, combat-wise?
Like your quest, I mean. Shum?
No. The third
Shum.
thing. Shum is just what I have selected. But I'm still, like, trying to progress through this DLC area.
I see what you're saying. remember where I read this, but I know that I read it. Elevated. Easily dodge a slow-moving projectile. Let's get a luck throw. Releasing the button for launch. Yeah. Launching an object before it reaches Jesse will blindside them. Special mentions made it airborne. Throwing grenades. Shit. Yeah, I don't know. I know that was one of them. I can't remember what it was because they're so. I could have seen myself come closely. They're named.
Looks like whatever force had a hold on Hartman
How about this?
isn't mixing
Try that.
well with his corruption. Like, did
Launch.
call him
Okay,
the
yeah.
third thing.
Dodge and then use it quickly again
That
after and
chain
it'll hit
letter.
them.
I
Okay.
remember
Have you been
these.
trying that?
Mom used to say they were evil.
Like early launches?
Better do what it says.
No. So I got a post here that
Just in
says if you use
See a
launch,
photocopy
they'll
around
dodge,
here.
and then if you use launch again quickly after that, it'll hit them because they can't dodge it 2 times. They can't do like 2 sequential dodges. Throw rapid succession. You can also wind up a shot from behind cover and release just as you're coming out of cover. That's tricking the AI.
I just picked up Shaded Hartman, if you want to read that.
Yeah, let me bring that up. Oh, that's not helpful. Shaded Hartman. Oh. I brought up the page on the wiki, and it's just Shaded Hartman is one of the collectibles in the AWE expansion of Patrol. That's it. Here's a stub.
Yeah, that's kind of what I expected it to be like.
That is the first instance of that I've seen for this game so far. How about images? What if I take a look at an image? Oh, here we go. An alert from the blah monitoring station indicated minor blah activity occurring in the area. Agent Estevez was dispatched to investigate. Inside the redacted blah, she discovered the facility's former owner, Dr. Emil Hartman. He had been converted into a shaded individual, per definitions found in File 634-1923, and displayed violent behavior characteristic of this type. Agent Estevez alerted the on-site research team to the specimen's presence, and with some difficulty, it was successfully contained in the black box cell. The cell and its inhabitant were transported safely back to HQ, where the specimen remains detained in the redacted sector as part of the redacted AWE investigation. Once the investigation is closed, research teams have petitioned to relocate the specimen into their sector for study. Up and locked him up, and they were going to move him.
That's like one of the first like big death pits I've seen in the game.
Yeah, they don't do that very often.
As opposed to like floating islands.
Yes. Nothing quite says video game more than like precarious floating island above like a nothing chasm. Bigger in terms of like playable space. The FPC, like I'm not talking about like the FPC as in the reality of it because it's impossibly big, but like if we're just talking about the map and the places that you explore, and its relative size to reality, I wonder how the math goes between this and say Shadow Moses. Shadow Moses is stupidly big, but also the FPC seems like it's kind of edging up to that difficult territory, to that level. I don't know. I don't know enough about math to be able to tell you one way or the other. Yes. Yeah, it seems like the wiki is maybe having trouble loading things up. But I'll keep an eye on them. I'll keep an eye on them, I guess. I'll say this also. We didn't really get into talking about the history of Remedy coming out on the platform that did. But so you picked up the Steam version here, which, man. So Remedy got a break on controlled budget for their huge advance or whatever that Epic Games gave them to put it on their store for the first year. And so that's the reason why you can kind of understand that, because I feel like Remedy has always been in a situation where they make cult hit games. They don't make they never make extremely well performing games, right? It's always a cult hit with them.
Yeah, you're right about that.
Except maybe Max Payne. I think Max Payne did well out of the gate, but in general. And instead, this game came out a year later on Steam at $20 less, with all of the DLC included, and several patches that have been issued in. It's waiting that year gave you not only the complete version of the game, but also the most stable version of the game, and the cheapest version of the game. I look at this the situation of me trying to get a PlayStation, and I'm like, man, maybe I should just wait a year. I'm already not going to be able to get Miles Morales in time for Christmas, which is unfortunate, because I really wanted to play that over Christmas time. But a year from now, they'll probably have the PlayStation 5 Pro or whatever. They always do, right?
Yeah, you're probably right.
I hope that they don't do that, but they're still going to do that.
I gotta say, these guys are starting to get really tanky.
Yeah, you might consider switching to Pierce or something to try and do a little bit more damage.
Maybe.
I mean, you're pipping away at them and doing it pretty consistently, but it's not like a lot.
Pierce might be the way to go.
Oh my god. There was an Alan Wake ARG blog that I did not know. The Alan Wake ARG blog, This House of Dreams, documents the file of a woman named Samantha who lives in Ordinary and experiences strange events. Samantha's blog is also later mentioned in Control. In Quantum Break, a quantum ripple will lead to a severe power outage in the town of Ordinary, resulting in a spike in violent crime. Huh. Neat. Honestly, let me take a look at this. I had no idea about this blog. Assuming that it's even still up and, searchable, you know?
We can only hope.
Oh, it seems like it does. This House of Dreams is what appears to be an ARG for the unannounced Alan Wake game. blogspot owned by a woman named Samantha as she rebuilds an old house she bought. Through rebuilding it, she uncovers secret poems, photos, and has strange dreams. And I've got a link to it here. Looks like the first post was made the same day that Anakin Skywalker's American Nightmare was released on the Xbox 360. I would fucking play that.
I'm sure you would.
Anakin Skywalker's American Nightmare? Imagine you play as Hayden Christensen, but he's just like wearing a plaid shirt, and he's got a lightsaber and has to deal with his exact clone copy, who is also, well, his exact clone copy would just be like Darth Vader, I guess. Hayden Christensen in that stupid flannel shirt. I kind of dig that idea. Yeah, okay. Poem number 2. Divorce me from all that's sane, screaming mute darkness, descend on this frail frame. I drown in fathomless black space. Light never scratched the depths of this domain. I see not, yet nothing could be worse than the shades my mind calls herein. Alone at my own wake, the unraveling of reason's skein. This is that's part of the lyrics in Balance Slaves the Demon. At the end of that song, there's like a spoken word. There's like a spoken word portion. That's interesting. I can't believe I never knew this was here. You can straight up find Thomas Zane's poems in here as well. Ocean green, where waves are both wilder and more serene to its ports I've been. Wow. Yeah, no, man, really wanted this to be something.
It's tragic.
It really is quite a shame. Beyond the shadow you settle for, there is a miracle illuminated. Beyond the lake he called home lies a deeper, darker ocean green. Yep. Totally. Yeah, this is a hugely deep rabbit hole to jump in on that I don't think we have the time for.
Unfortunate, but probably true.
I might also say that in the moments since I've dug into that, we lost a couple of people. You poetry. Get that writer shit out of my video games. What a shame. You picked up a thing here for Fra Morrow, which is a paranatural entity arrived on Earth by infiltrating
oh my
the
God.
Apollo 14 lunar mission at an unknown point of their voyage. Unknown of their voyage to the Fra Morrow Highlands of the Moon. 32 hours after the return of the Apollo 14 command module to Earth, the Bureau was contacted by Mr. Redacted, a White House senior official, and instructed to send a small team to the Johnson Space Center in Houston. At the base, the team examined the entity and carried out interviews with NASA staff. They learned that 4 astronauts had returned to Earth instead of the inspected 3. Each human crew member was insistent that the mission left with 4 members, that they couldn't name the 4th when asked. The entity seemingly affected their memory to make its presence feel unremarkable. The entity was transported to the oldest house for further investigation. Note: an altercation between NASA security and the investigation team occurred upon their arrival. Mr. Redacted called to clarify the matter. Though tensions remained high, Bureau jurisdiction and clearance should be defined more clearly with other federal agencies. Shit. Aliens are happening.
Aliens are happening. And also, he appeared next to me and fucking command grabbed me.
Yes.
Hear him, but I
Hartman
can't
is
see it.
Hartman is stepping his game up. His combat prowess has improved since we last saw him.
Ah.
Hmm. That's alright. You got this. It's a cat and mouse game. But you know that you're the cat in this situation, so.
Not yet. I'm working on that role reversal right now.
Man, what a fucking design. Just seeing, like, that big, tall enemy in the shadows.
Yeah, it's really good.
I imagine it's not making the game run any better.
It's not making the game run any better. It's not making the fight any easier.
Don't worry. As we've established, it can all be explained as a part of the old house tricks. Horrible trickster of this domain. The thing. Third. Thing. Here's a hypothetical question for you, Bix.
Yeah, what's up?
How would you feel about doing a blind playthrough of the Kingdom Hearts series?
You had me until you said Kingdom Hearts.
I know, that's what I was worried about. Because those things would look so good on a PlayStation, and I don't have to pay for it, and I know nothing about the story of those games except for, like, you know, some of the bigger spoilers, I guess, but like the way that game plays out, I still have not played them. So that's a staunch no from you then.
Yeah, gonna go ahead and say no to that.
Damn. You don't want to find out what Xenohort is up to? You don't want to find out about Xenohort?
Can't say that I do.
What about Riku and Kairi?
What did I just turn on?
You just turned on the button that makes the stream buffer, looks like. I saw a big light start to happen, and then I saw the stream decide to die a little bit. Now, here's a question for you.
Yeah?
Is there some kind of, like, loud buzzing noise that keeps happening?
Yeah, it's to do with the crane.
Okay. Because I have the audio low enough that I can hear when, like, stuff isn't happening properly.
Uh-huh.
And I just kept hearing, and I kept thinking to myself, I'm not doing that, am I? Oh my god, every single time that you hit the button, it starts to buffer. It might just be a coincidence so far, but I kind of think that it's not. It's like, oh shit, okay, well, we gotta turn on the lighting, so... There goes the processing power.
One less place for him to hide.
Gerbil took the top head.
Damn gerbil. How dare they do this to me?
All right, Ati. Was this what you
Man,
had in
the
mind?
daunting mountain that is Yakuza is still staring me down.
Oh yeah.
Because I'm like, oh, that game is like 40 to 80 hours depending on how long you want it to be. And even if it's 40, that means that we can't... Like, I'm looking at the videos, right? And I'm like, yeah, 45 minutes seems okay. And then I'm doing the math, and I'm like, if I'm doing 45-minute videos on 3-hour streams of a potentially 80-hour game, that's gonna reach into the hundreds, I think.
It's gonna be a lot.
So you know what that means? That means uploading those parts in full, maybe cutting them in half to be like an hour and a half as opposed to 3 hours, but there's gonna be a huge jump from like, oh yeah, part 1 and 2 of 45 minutes, and then suddenly, oh, here's a 3-hour stream of Yakuza. But you know why I'm okay with that?
Yeah,
Because I love that game.
it's a good
It's
game.
just nice to have someone to talk to, you know?
It's super
Ever
satisfying
since I got put
too.
in
Like,
charge of the Panopticon, people
they
treat
have
me
done a
different,
lot
like I'm
in that game
crazy
to
for wanting to work with altered items.
de-incentivize
People
you
just don't understand the altered
like,
items like I do, you know?
just play it
I
straight
don't wanna
through.
brag, but it does
and,
take
like,
a
some-
very
you know,
empathetic mind
like
to connect
railroad
with
it?
the
They-
items.
Yeah, like
Doesn't
they've incentivized you to
brag.
take breaks in a way where they
Right.
mess around with XP and like diminishing returns and stuff like that. So there's been not a whole lot that I can do on my own, and I've just been like, man, I could really go for like 3 straight hours of JRPG. We haven't even seen what makes that game what it is yet.
Oh, I believe it. Because there's a crazy amount of depth to all those games.
Well, there's a crazy amount of depth to it, but also just like presentation-wise, the shit that goes on with that game. We've said it before. They've showed it off in trailers. Like there are summons in that game,
Yeah,
Still,
I'm
I
keenly
don't know
aware.
why people are making it so
and
personal.
so far we've just
I
been
mean, the
like
teams
jumping
of
up and
research
down
handle
and
paranatural
punching some
materials
guys,
every day,
and that's kind of
no
been
one thinks
it.
they're weird.
And
Well,
I'm
maybe
waiting
that's
for
not
the
true.
moment
Darling is
where
famous for being a
dude
badass.
jumps off of a tower
When he's
and then
weird,
summons a
it's
lightning
charming.
strike.
Altered items really aren't that frightening once you get to know them.
I'm very curious. Also, we haven't even really gotten into the job system, which is way deeper than I thought it actually was. I thought it was just going to be like, you know, little, you know, stat buffs and situational buffs and stuff here and there. And it's like, no. Fucking class changes might as well be what's going on.
That's pretty much it.
Like, it is way more of an RPG than I was expecting it to be. And I was expecting it to be just a JRPG. But it's like, it is very classic in a lot of ways. Ichiban Kasuga is
Man of many talents.
He is a man of many talents. He is also more of a warrior of light than Alan Wake ever was.
Well, this thing might have a lot of health, but at least it's stupid.
Yeah. It sounds like an apt way to describe Shadow of the Colossus. You know, that's a game that I'll be able to play, because that came out on PS4, I believe. And I didn't get a chance to play it, because, you know, PS4. You ever played Shadow of the Colossus?
I watched the Best Friends videos at a bad time in my life.
I can see a situation in which you would really like that. You're like what a lot of shit is going on in that game.
Yeah.
Conceptually, like it. I love fighting, like Hinoxes and like the Stone Talus in Breath of the Wild.
Yeah.
And, like, it doesn't matter how many times I fight them, just crawling on the large enemy and hitting the spot is so satisfying. Ooh! I'm sorry, I just saw you do like a fucking sick-ass dodge.
Did I do a sick-ass dodge?
I think it was more like the enemy did a sick-ass dodge in front of you and you just no-selled it and shot them.
That's probably more accurate.
I saw movement happen and I saw a no-sell happen, and I was like, yeah.
Okay, maybe now I can go in here, because I couldn't before. I couldn't quite figure out what was missing.
So, hey, here's another thing, right?
What's that?
You and I we've talked a lot about doing the Witcher series.
Mm-hmm.
And I've explained to you a couple of times why
The difficulties
I really
involved.
The difficulties involved, and also just that I do not want to play Witcher 2, even though it's really cool.
Understandable.
Joseph Anderson, we were talking about him a little bit earlier. He put out a video that was a like 5-hour, maybe 6-hour long critique and like breakdown and analysis of Witcher 2 on its own, and he illuminated some points in that video that that it gave words to some of the problems that I had that I didn't understand for a long time. So Witcher 2 uses like MMO style hotbar combat and does not, it looks like it uses the action combat of part 3, but like animations don't actually play in conjunction with where hitboxes and damage frames and stuff like that starts to happen. So like an example that he uses is fighting a dragon type enemy, and the dragon rears up its head like it's gonna breathe fire and then spews out fire and he gets burned, right?
Right.
Only he breaks it down frame by frame, and the burn status is affected on Geralt before the fire comes out of his mouth, like while he's rearing up his head, because it's not animation based, it's hotbar based. But it looks like it should be animation based because all the animations are really pretty and like they happen in a way that's kind of snappy enough. Like they're kind of close to 3. But 3 is a completely different combat system. And then there's just also like the vast amounts of nudity in that game that I would have to edit out.
I'm telling you, we can use Cell for this.
We can use Cell, we can use Barry. Just splice in actual footage of like the most awful pornography I can think of, and it somehow gets past the censors because they're like, well, that can't be a real person. That could never happen to a human being. And I'm like, yeah, that's right.
It's just so horrible that it bypasses the automatic checks that mark images of pizza as sensitive.
You know what? I'm gonna cut off this this line of questioning here and instead point you to something that I think you'd really appreciate.
Yeah.
I saw a post online yesterday that was like a zoom in on images, and it was like, are these images A, Doom Eternal levels, or B, pictures of lasagna? And it was really hard to tell.
Shit.
I love stuff like that. Oh, there's this really good example in an episode of Pokemon. Like the OG series, it might have even been season 1, where they're going and having like a Pokemon quiz show.
Yeah.
And the host is like, or the professor rather, is like, hey, only a true Pokemon master can be able to tell who's this Pokemon, and it shows a silhouette of a perfectly spherical Pokemon, and he's like, oh, well, that's clearly a Voltorb, and the other one's like, that's clearly an Electrode, and he's like, the answer is it's a Jigglypuff viewed from above, and everybody gets it wrong.
That's wonderful.
That first season of Pokemon is really good. The first, like, 3 seasons, everything from Kanto and Johto, really, really good.
Also, you're not getting this, but those of you watching at home are getting this, and I think you know already. The weapon sounds in this game are really good.
Yeah. They're very clacky.
They've got, like...
I enjoy them.
They've got, like, that clack boom effect, you know?
Yeah.
It's really good.
I go listen to a Saliva song about staying up in your room and letting the radio blaze.
Saliva will always be the name of Mandy's dog to me.
Christ.
Yes.
Did the Hartman thing
Saliva
do
is
all of
A,
this?
the name of Mandy's dog, and B, the name of, or the... B, the punchline to a really disturbing joke in an episode of Angel.
Well, now you have
There
to tell
is-
it.
So, in an episode called Billy, there is a dude who gets taken from, like, a hell dimension as part of a bargain.
Right?
And it's unclear as to why he was being held in, like, a maximum security, constantly on fire cube of paint. And he comes back in an episode, and he basically has this innate ability to, whenever he touches somebody physically, like, whenever he touches a man physically, it makes them go into, like, a misogynistic rage, and it's really weird and disturbing, and a lot of that episode is gross as a nature of that, right?
Right.
And they play with it in such awful ways because they give Alexis Denisov these lines that are just the most black comedy shit, where he gets infected and he's like chasing people down Jack Nicholson style with an axe in the middle of the hotel. And he says, oh yeah, and speaking of Saliva, whatever happened to Cordelia? And it's a moment where the character that he's with steps back and says, wait, what? What did you just say to me? And then about 10 minutes later, he picks up an axe. It's bad.
That sounds
episode
like
is-
a ride.
That episode is probably the worst episode in the show in its entire run. And that show involves, like, a character who may or may not have an Oedipus complex and goes through a portal and, like, ages up into an adult, and then all of the worst parts of that come true. All of Season 4 is really bad.
That's dire.
It is very dire. I mean, this is the same season where literal fire is falling from the sky and, like, the sun has been blotted out. To call it dire is one thing, and then to add, like, a supernatural soap opera on top of it is even more so. And even in a show like that, Billy is probably the worst episode because it raises the implication that, like, at the base level, all people are inherently misogynistic. And it's like, it's strange because you kind of get what they're going for, but Joss Whedon, as much as I love him, and, well, I don't love him, as much as I love Buffy and I love Angel, he has a problem with writing. He has a problem with, like, trying to posit the idea that he's a feminist writer, and he's really not. He writes very strong female characters, but then also writes all of these really troubling situations that kind of make no sense and raise really unfortunate implications all over the place in a way that worked in 2006 and worked in like 1996 to 98, but don't work now. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Reminder: the law of three also applies to all faucets
It's
within
bad.
the oldest house. Be mindful and
And
don't
it,
cause
like
any
part of my
unwanted
problem with
misconduct.
the
Thank
black
you for
comedy
your
in
attention.
Billy specifically is because you can tell that there was a kind of a dark glee in writing those lines with how they come off. And it, as an adolescent, I was watching those episodes and I was like, okay, yeah, misogyny is bad. Billy is bad. And then as I grow up, I start to realize, wait a second, these lines had to be written, and these lines were written in a way that makes them humorous. And that leads me to conclusions of like, well, wait, who wrote this line and why did they think it was humorous? And then that leads me to unfortunate trains of thought that I don't like.
And am not prepared to deal with.
I am not prepared to deal with, and that I am also out of my depth in properly discussing. Except to say that, hey, I like some of Joss Whedon's work a whole lot. I think he might be less cool than I thought when I was an adolescent.
It may be that he has issues.
I mean, he was being, he
There's
didn't have like
That
the
great
level
big
of.
Kill the Kill font that you like.
I do like that great big Kill a Kill font.
And a big room, mostly dark with one light source, which makes me worry.
Lots of
You should be
dark
worried.
corners to hide in.
Guess what? I am.
Let's get this
Especially in this
and
expansion.
head out.
Oh, there he is.
I wish Joss Whedon was a little bit less of a scumbag. It's always a thing of like separating the art from the artist and all that, but man, I really wish that some people in the industry were less of scumbags than they are. I mean, I wish they were all not scumbags, right?
But you can only ask for so much.
I can only ask for so much, and some of them are like really deep cuts. Like Quentin Flynn was when I found out about that, I was like, oh my god. That directly colors quite a lot of what might be one of my favorite games ever made.
Nope,
And it's not
nope,
like
nope,
you-
nope.
Yeah, I see it.
No,
I
you're
see it.
gonna see it in a second.
You can't get away from Quentin Flynn's performance in MGS2 because he's constantly talking throughout that game. The codecs are happening way more often in that game than I think any other.
Come on, come on.
Flynn, why you gotta be a creepo? How come Quentin Flynn and Hideo Kojima and Joss Whedon all have to be creepy? And Louis C.K.
Oh, don't even get me started.
Louis C.K. was one of the worst ones because he was like one of my favorite of, like, as far as talk show, or not talk show, as far as like stand-up goes, I really liked a lot of his stand-up. He's got a great sense of comedic timing and knows how to set up a joke really well, like in a way that I haven't seen since like Chappelle. And then the stuff about him comes out and you're like, fuck man, come on.
All you had to do was not that. You know?
I imagine that you have enough money that this wouldn't be a problem. You have enough money that people would be attracted to the fact that you have money despite not being a conventionally attractive person, right? I don't know, maybe I'm maybe that's incredibly cynical of me to say. Maybe that's absolutely not how that works.
First of all,
like,
it is cynical. Second of all, you're right.
I feel like that happens, right? Like, I'm not crazy.
It does happen.
Also, just like him being as upfront about his personality as he is, you would think that some people would be way into his personality.
The thing for me, when I found out, I was like, yeah, that makes sense.
Oh, totally. I mean, there are episodes of Louis that you look at and, like, almost exactly that happened. And you're like, yeah, okay. I believe that this would happen to Louis C.K.
This tracks.
No wonder this show is as bleak and often depressing as it is. This dude has probably had a seriously fucked up life. But at the same time, that doesn't really give you... It doesn't give you clearance to do the things that you do.
Money is often the difference between being a role model and a statistic.
It's a good way to put that.
All aboard, huh?
All aboard the crazy train.
Good evening, all you fine-looking folks.
And you know, there's somebody,
Here's some
Ozzy
smooth tunes
writes
to ease your
music
minds
that is
and
like
please your ears.
deeply
As we wait for
troubling
that
in a lot of
delicious
like some
dinner
of the
to
songs that he's
roll
written
right on
are
in.
downright scary and disturbing. And at the same time, he as a person is like, he had drug issues, of course.
And there was the whole thing with the bats.
Well,
There's a lot. There's a lot.
So the bats thing was that was a mistake. Like, that wasn't intended to happen that way. Like the actual story behind that is that he wasn't aware of it and had to be like treated for rabies and all that shit because he thought it was fake. And then he bit into it and it wasn't.
And welcome aboard the
And then
Eagle
he
Limited, bound
gained a
for
reputation
Chicago.
for being the heavy
Please have
metal
your
singer
tickets ready
that
and
writes
enjoy
songs
the
like
ride.
fucking Mr. Tinker Train and No More Tears, and then also bites the head off of bats. His moniker is the Prince of Darkness. But like, he as a person, he's like part of a loving marriage. He's
Next stop's Alton,
not a
Carlinville,
bad
and
guy when he
Springfield.
talks
That's Alton,
like down to
Carlinville,
earth.
and
When you
Springfield.
can understand
Tickets,
him and
please.
he's just
Tickets.
speaking in interviews and stuff, like, he's a fine person. But his art is so deeply disturbed that you're like, oh, some of these songs I can't quite listen to.
The thing about Ozzy for me is, this is gonna date this video super hard. I can't believe he's still alive.
Ozzy is pumped so full of drugs that he might as well be like a human emulsifier.
He is like a living mummy. It's crazy.
He's like a humanoid. His shelf life is effectively infinite.
Yeah.
And again, I really hope that that doesn't take the video, because please, Ozzy. I'll tell you what though, I picked up a case file. It did take a tragic turn. You picked up something for the Eagle Limited event.
Yeah?
A train derailment resulting in 62 casualties and numerous injuries was suspected to have been the work of a paracriminal group known as
That was
Redacted. As a result of this
chaotic.
event,
Felt
the
like
agents
it was
discovered
trying to
that one of
tell
the
me
cars
something.
had become altered with a persistent
Wonder if I can
auditory
make sense
event.
of it.
It remains to be determined whether the AWE was spontaneous or the direct result of the sabotage. Event response. The Bureau had been tracking said group at the time, and the intel gathered suggested an event of this caliber was imminent in Bloomington. As a result, a response team on site was able to respond to the train accident site within minutes of its occurrence. They arrived to find emergency processes underway, but also equipment left behind by the suspected group. A suspicious onlooker managed to elude agents after they attempted to make contact. Further investigation of the accident site revealed a curiously undamaged train car that exhibited an alternate state when entered. The individual car was secured and transported to the investigation sector for further studies. That's fucking nuts. The idea that you've got like AWE terrorist cells, essentially.
And that's like a big thing in SCP canon as well. There is.
Now, see, I didn't know about that.
There is a lot of that going on.
So SCP is one of those things where like
It's a
I've
fucking
definitely-
rabbit hole, like genuinely.
Yeah. And I mean, I've read some of the, some of the classic ones, the dude that you can't look at or turns around and mulches you.
Mm-hmm. The
like
thing that you cannot kill, like straight up.
Yeah. And like I've read some of those, but that was years and years ago. So like the greater canon of SCP, I guess, is stuff that I'm totally not aware of. I come to this with the Alan Wake side done, and almost none of SCP done. So I find a lot of this stuff equally interesting because like that shit is neat.
We
But a lot
kind
of
of
the
come at
times-
this from two different sides.
Yeah. Part of the reason why I never got as deep into SCP is because I would always click on like random pages and I would be brought to like, this is a Shrek toothbrush that makes people sing Smash Mouth when they put it in their mouths.
Yeah,
and I was
it's
like, oh.
a lot of it is hit or miss.
A lot of it is like, it's freely editable, right?
Yeah,
So I feel like I've seen a lot of shitpost entries and not quite as many real entries.
a lot of those end up under the J entries.
Yes. I think that might have been like a thing after I started reading it. I feel like that was added as a thing some
As
ways
quality control.
in. Yeah.
I am not sure what this wants me to do.
You got to connect with the train.
It seems like... No.
I mean, there's that one that's red.
Is there one that's red? Am I crazy?
There was a terminal outside that was red, I saw. I don't know if it has anything to do with anything, but...
It says something, the game is frozen, I can't read it. Here we go.
got
Network
it?
disconnected.
Ah, good stuff.
I don't think that's really helpful.
Okay. I will take a look at this and see what I can find.
Yeah, go ahead and do that.
You have to interact with items lying on the tables in the right order. You have to
That's-
recreate the events that led to the train crash.
Kind of what I figured, but then a lot of that doesn't seem to make any sense. Maybe I have to read the thing.
Yeah, I mean, you have to use that and then figure out from that, figure out what the order is. And I've also got the order here if you need it, so...
You know what? Just give me the order. I don't feel like dealing with this shit.
You have a briefcase, a hat,
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and
violin,
welcome aboard the Eagle Limited bound for Chicago.
meal,
Please have
Good
the
evening, all
tickets
you-
Hammer.
ready and enjoy the ride.
and then
Some
scrap.
smooth tickets, please. Leisure.
Get out of it.
I think I did that in the right order. I can't leave now. Okay.
Excuse me, ma'am. Do you have a ticket?
You had a pretty dark ride, huh? But I hope you're done replaying.
Oh god, with the overlapping voices and everything?
It's super chaotic. And I
It is
picked
very
up
chaotic.
something unique.
Oh?
I think I did.
Murder train a comin'.
The one-way track. Projectile spread minus 100. Turn shatter into a fucking slug launcher. I am into that. That's worth it.
There you go. Murder train a comin' blues.
Oh,
Mashed
man.
potato Johnson. I really have to go back and watch Metalocalypse again. It's been so long.
That kind of makes me want to go back and do the other one, because I bet that also gives something good.
You go back and do the second one, and it pops up with a message that says, "Don't be greedy."
You go back and do the other one, and it tells you to go back. It tells you to go back and watch Metalocalypse.
There you go. Fucking, oh my god, I'm sorry. I'm on Twitter, and I look at a thing that Kyle MacLachlan just posted, and it's, oh man, I love the Twin Peaks mirror scene. Here's it's broken down by color. And it's I see up in the corner Sam Lake liked this, and I'm like, fuck, still? Oh, that's good stuff. You go back and do the second one, and it asks you, what is the nature of a man? Just a miserable pile of secrets have at you, and then the train starts to move.
Oh, this should be
You
a
know,
good
that's
one.
what the... Which one is it?
It's the moon landing. Aliens.
Oh,
And the gerbil what took the top head.
aliens. What's your favorite alien?
Like, just out of all of them?
Yeah.
I feel like this is a question that I have an answer to, but I would have to think about it. And you
Okay.
asked me this once before, and I was never able to give you an answer.
Okay. I'll accept that.
No, you didn't ask me this once before, but you asked me a question similar to this, and I gave the same answer, and then I never answered you.
Yeah.
My favorite
Yeah.
alien.
I know what you're talking about. I don't even remember what the original question was, and that's probably super infuriating if somebody's listening to this in the post.
It might be like, what is my favorite gun in a game? I think that was the original question.
What's your favorite gun? What runs on batteries?
Yes, me? Worry who?
This one.
Uh-oh.
Hello. Great about us today. Long roads and no hardly. You are Bygone?
I like that gun
Sure.
from
Why are you locked
New
up
Vegas,
Yeah?
Casual turning.
because it's just
Back in front.
Deckard's gun.
And gerbil took the top head. Not being pressed for that. Lady going and loosing back for eye?
Sorry, I think I'm misunderstanding you. What do you want?
Okay, now I remember why I asked you what to do on.
News, jars, words, and tumble.
Ah,
Head.
we are gonna be
Okay,
streaming on
okay,
Thanksgiving,
take
huh?
it easy. I'll
Is it time for
about-
Thanksgiving?
look.
Might be time for Thanksgiving.
Maybe it wants something to read.
What
Or a
do you
jar.
have any ideas for what you might want to play on
Let's
Thanksgiving?
just see what we can find.
What day of the week is that?
It's 2 days from now. It's Thursday,
Hmm.
so it'll be me. But Thanksgiving, it'll either be Yakuza. It'll be like full stream of Yakuza, or it'll be like a one-off of something neat or bad. I haven't quite decided yet.
I have...
I gotta be honest, I really like the idea of... I really want to play Teardown, but I don't want to spend $20 to play Teardown.
Yep, them's the breaks, huh? I had a toaster strudel this morning. It was pretty good. I'm hungry.
I understand. I have not had a toaster strudel in many years. And I wish that I could. You know what? Toaster strudels remind me of Metalocalypse, because...
You got cinnamon icing all over your hands?
I'm so fucked up. No, it reminds me of Metalocalypse because I would always skip school and watch Metalocalypse and the Venture Brothers, and I would have Pop-Tarts and toaster strudels. Because I was old enough to eat that still. I was such a good student. I passed with A's too. Like, what the fuck?
I was a fucking terrible student. You know this about me.
I do know this about you.
I was a fucking terrible student because I was like, the work I did, I got straight A's on, but I just so completely did not want to be there that I would not do it out of spite. I was a difficult child. I'm a difficult person.
We're both difficult people.
This could be
It's
what
okay.
it wants. Let's give it a shot.
You're a difficult person unintentionally, and I am just cantankerous at all times. Cantankerous
That's
and difficult
really
to be
interesting.
around.
I don't think I've ever heard that before. I think I've said that of myself before.
Difficult
It's
unintentionally?
strange hearing that. Yeah. That's interesting. You're also totally right. Because, like, yeah, no, I can't think of a single situation where interacting with me is a simple operation. Something goes wrong.
Or there's
Usually
always like
because
an
of-
extra layer to it.
Yes, but
Jars.
also
Head.
this.
Scotch and peppers.
It's like somebody asks
Hey,
you,
I wasn't
"Hey,
right.
how you doing today?" Or
try
like, "How was your
something
day?"
else.
I don't think my answer is ever good, because if I'm not having an amazing day, my day is bad. Hey, what's your favorite album? I don't know. You ever heard of Finnish band, this Finnish indie band that you've never heard of? And the answer comes back as no.
It's
You ever
never
heard of
easy.
The Sounds? I really like this this Swedish indie band. It's probably my favorite ever. Do you want to
Let's
listen
keep
to them? And
trying.
the answer comes back as no. And I'm like, well, that's okay because I have the aux cord, so you're gonna listen to them.
Maybe this.
I don't
will do
ever
the
go
trick?
quite that far. I try to appease everybody, but myself included in the scenario, and I'm such a weirdo that it ends up probably just appeasing me.
I just blare what I want with the windows down in that scenario.
That's fine. I feel really bad for the neighbors because now I own a guitar and an amplifier.
You know
And
what?
nothing more
You're
needs to
sitting
be
next
said.
to me in traffic, you're gonna listen to the Panty and Stocking soundtrack, and you're gonna fucking like it.
Oh boy. I think I've told you this story before about the about sitting in traffic next to the old dean of our college.
I think
right?
I remember that story. That's a good story.
I very much apologize if I've said this on stream before.
Guess that
But
wasn't it
if
either.
not,
Huh.
I was before he left, before like the whole college got restructured in such a way as to make his job redundant. We had an associate dean of theater at our college, and he was a terrible, terrible man and an director. And he was very rude to all of us, which is the only reason that I think of this story fondly.
Maybe.
We had just gotten out of rehearsals for 6 Characters in Search of an Author, which was a very rough show that was hard for us to do. And I was sitting there in traffic next to him, and he's like, he's listening to like some adult contemporary station in his little like Honda Civic or whatever with like the windows rolled up, and he's just an old cantankerous man who's kind of having his own time of it. And I pull up next to him unknowingly in my like old ass desert car with my windows down, just blasting punk at the top of the decibel possible. And I look over at him, and then I look back to myself, and I'm like, oh my god, this dude is gonna hate me for years. And he did. You know what?
Lady, you are
It was the correct
school
choice to
and
make.
dirt for losing.
Keep that up, and I
That
won't
dude
help
got
you
super
anymore.
fired. Man, okay, wait. There's an additional layer to this story, which is, because I was complaining to you about it at the time, but the 2 or so years that I spent in that theater program was awful, and there was a lot of, like, money shenanigans going around with, like, misappropriating student funds and some potential sexual harassment that was going on with some of the people who were at the top of that situation.
As is often the case.
As is often the case. And without naming any names, I will say that
Let's see if this will do it.
eventually stuff
Ready
got
to be
so
done with
bad
this?
and so abusive that I left the program. But about 2 years later, I eventually got news from one of my friends who had stayed there, and they said, "Oh, did you not hear? Like the entire theater department got relocated." And I'm like, "Oh, okay. Well, why is that?" And they're like,
Does
"Well,
this thing
first off,
actually
because
mean
everybody who worked there
head?
left, but secondly,
Head
because
is
the
in a
building got
body's
swallowed by a
head?
sinkhole."
Where the
Fucking
hell
awesome.
am I gonna find that?
And I'm like, what kind of
And how did it lose
divine
it?
retribution took place that this place literally had a hell mouth open up underneath it and suck it in?
That's what I like to see.
That is what I like to see.
I'm such a big fan of things being destroyed.
Well, things being destroyed, but also just like
The
I
karmic
can't-
aspect to it, obviously.
I know that I'm making light of it for the sake of the stream, but like referring to some of the events that went on in that area as abusive is apt, if not selling a lot of it short. And it was a generally miserable time for not just myself, but for just about everybody that was involved. And it was a lot of people that were involved. And the catharsis of the idea that the Earth itself sees fit to destroy this place and to wipe the slate clean with all who were involved is brilliant. I have not had a good time with my experience in college. I've been in college for some time. I am just happy that those people are no longer working there and no longer taking advantage of people. I mean, I'm sure they're probably taking advantage of people in some other way, but they are no longer in the position that they were in, and that's enough. You might think that this sounds dark, and that this sounds a little too self-serious for what's going on. I would instead remind you of the time where a bunch of kids in Ordinary went all Lord of the Flies and basically exterminated like every adult in the area. Does it fit tonally if I try and make it goofy by saying that one of us is wearing bunny ears while
And we won't say which one.
A helmet
No, we won't.
for a head.
It was basically like a Super Mario
Is
level.
that what
It
the
was like one of
prisoner
those kinds of
meant?
deals. It was like a Tanuki
Way
suit.
to find out.
A Tanuki suit makes it worse. I could have chosen any animal. It was a cat. No, cat suit doesn't work either. Damn it.
Wow, you're really bad at this.
I am bad at this. Why does every suit have to have some sort of uncomfortable connotation? Is it just the nature of it being a suit?
I think it's the nature of people when it comes to animal humanoids. Hey, I got one. What if it was a spacesuit?
Yeah, that'd be pretty funny, actually. Just like the improbability of some dude lumbering around in a spacesuit is hilarious to me. It's like imagining Thomas Zane walking around in a stupid fucking bathysphere suit.
It's wonderful.
So the
It's
helmet
constantly
is what you're
emitting
after, huh?
light.
Tubes, snug and great.
You imagine that thing would be really uncomfortable to actually be in.
You're welcome, I guess. Did Kirkland
Oh my god.
lock you up in here?
I have good
She's
news.
trouble? Yes. Teddy's
I finished all of the coffee.
Holdouts and happiest. Can gather for goldfishes. No wrinkle.
I can
Okay.
feel.
Well,
ugh,
sounds
I
like
can
you're
feel the
doing
mint
fine
like
in there
going
now.
down
Just
my throat.
Make sure you don't go anywhere.
Jelly.
At least we helped this guy. I think.
I got
Best
thin
we
space.
leave it locked up, though. We have no idea what it is, and we
Thin
don't need any more
space.
problems
Choose.
out here.
There's very like word salad stuff going on here.
Let's see. Projectile speed for charge. I think that's what you were referring to. Plus 500%.
Yeah, very likely.
But go ahead and throw that on there.
Very likely that.
It's that specialization you were referring to.
Yes. The thing that I knew would come in handy. Oh, man. Sorry, I just moved around my headphones. They hurt after a while. Turns
Yeah.
out you put something on your head for 3 hours.
I'll tell you what, this pair of studio monitor headphones I have as a part of my setup, they fit really nicely.
Oh, yeah. No, definitely. I've got a similar situation going on. Unfortunately, my ears are big. Well, not big, but they go out.
You've got elf ears, that's all.
Man, that makes it sound way hotter than it is.
Well, you just
There's
got a
a
rocket,
line.
that's all.
There is a line in Bill Murray's Scrooged, which is also maybe my favorite Christmas movie of all time,
Yeah?
where he refers to having ears like car doors. And I really like that image.
I do like that. Tell you what, we're sitting at just past 4 o'clock here, my time. Do you want to finish off Hartman, or do you want to save it for next time?
I kind of do need to get going soon. How...
I would like to stand up and maybe get something to eat.
Okay, so yeah, let's go ahead and call it for this time, and we'll finish this up next time.
Yeah, that sounds good to me.
Hartman will be a good thing to start something off on, I think.
Hartman will be destroyed. Make no mistake of it.
Damn Hartman.
It's only a matter of time.
That's right. It's only a matter of control at this point.
It's only a matter of Alan Wake's American Nightmare at this point.
It's only a matter of Alan Wake's DLC episode special feature number 2, The Writer, at this point.
It's only a matter of Yakuza Like a Dragon at this point.
Oh man, Like a Fist of the North Star is such a good name for anything.
I want to play that game. I want it to come to PC, but it never will.
Yeah. Yeah. Maybe I can get a copy of it for PS4 and we could play that.
I would be up for that. Because God knows I'm never going to
'Cause
get
I
to
also-
fucking play it myself.
Have not played that game. Like, that one's a nightmare of licensing issues. It's like, even if they wanted to bring it over,
Yeah.